Right. Welcome to this week's Business Owners Mastermind Call. My name's John Pyron, business doctor and your host. I've got some really good friends of mine here today, and we're going to talk about different business challenges that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. We're going to brainstorm solutions to those ideas and go from there. So with that said, one of the things that, let me mute real quick. Okay, so probably the biggest business challenge I ran into this week, I was dealing with a couple of clients. One of them, 27 employees, about $4.5 million a year in revenue, no processes, no systems, no nothing. Okay, and so one of the things I had to teach them is they know they have to hire people. They know that they have to bring people on board, but where do you start? And so I just told them, I said, well, the one thing that you need to do, and this is for everybody that's listening to this call or watching the recording, is I learned a long time ago, you need to create systems for every aspect of your business. At some point, in fact, the earlier on in the business that you do this, at some point when you actually need them, you will already have them done. It's the reverse for these people. So these people got two business partners. Everything is inside their head. They're the only ones that can do it. They're the only ones in their mind that can do it right. And they're at a point where the doctor is basically saying, you either get it done, you either find a way to not have to be the go-to person, or you're probably going to die. I mean, it was kind of that simple. And so I just told them, I said, we're going to do what's called a 4-list business systems exercise. And I'm going to find this resource real quick while I'm talking about it, but I've done enough of it that I can teach this blindly, or 2 in the morning. If you want to wake me up and ask me about it, I can tell you exactly how to do it. And you basically, in an Excel spreadsheet, column 1 is where you're going to list off every single thing that you do in the business. Email, billing, invoicing, going to the bank, check cashing, whatever. You're going to create a list of all the things that you do. Let me pull this up here, and I will share. Pull up the spreadsheet here. Share my screen here. And if you want this resource, I will give you an opportunity to grab it. I'll just give it to you for free. So let me show you this. Boom, boom. Okay. You see my screen? Yep. Okay. All right. So it starts off with, take the business task that you're going to do, and you're going to list it in this column. How much time per week do you spend doing that task? Next is, you're going to list, basically put a box in this column right here. You don't like to do it. You're not great at it. You really shouldn't be doing it. The next column is you like to do it, you're great at it, and you want to do more of it. And then finally a checkbox, whether it's in column E, whether it's in this column or this column, you either like it, you don't like it, or you like it. Can you delegate it? Can you automate it? Can you outsource it? Checkbox. Now, this is never going to stop. So people think that they can arrive with this, but as your business grows, as it changes, this is going to be one of those documents that gives you a clear-cut idea of when you need to hire somebody, when you need to outsource something. Like we have a virtual assistant on the call today. This is a great opportunity for you to outsource stuff that you don't want to do, that you shouldn't be doing, that somebody else could probably do better than you. But it gives you a roadmap. And here's all the things that have to happen, no matter whether I like to do it or not. This is what has to happen. Here's all the stuff I really don't want to do, don't like to do, not great at it, shouldn't be spending time on it. Here's all the stuff I like to do that I'm great at. I know I'm being redundant, but I want to cement this. Then you put a checkbox, delegate, automate, and outsource, and then sort it. It's a spreadsheet. Sort it by how much time you spend doing it. And then you want to look at, okay, do I have to hire an employee? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you could just hire a virtual assistant for 2 hours a week to take that one thing off your task list that you absolutely hate to do and you shouldn't be doing. Maybe you don't like to make phone calls. Maybe you're not doing customer service calls. Maybe you're not sending thank you cards. Maybe you don't want to put together a proposal. Maybe you don't want to get a hold of your vendors and get pricing. Maybe you don't want to put together a proposal. Maybe you don't want to follow up on a proposal. Maybe you don't want to answer your email. And the list goes on and on and on. When you're first starting a business, you are doing everything. When I started IBMS in 2006, I had borrowed 10 grand from my mother-in-law. I put a second on my home for 25 grand. I took the 2 cars that were paid for, refinanced them for another 15 grand. I put $50,000 of my own money up because there was a lot of crap I didn't know how to do, and I had to hire resources to do it. I didn't want to be the guy working 12, 14, 15 hours a day, 6 and 7 days a week. I just did not want to do that. And so I had to put up a bunch of money. But if you're like most small business owners where they're bootstrapping it in the beginning, you're doing all this ahead of time. So with the age of Zoom, with the age of Otter, there's various different apps. Like the recording that you're on right now is Zoom, and it's going to transcribe into an app called Otter, which I'm going to get the transcription text and the audio file. What this allows me to do is when I'm doing a task is share my screen to myself, do the task, record it, and now becomes a training module, a system, a process, if you will, for that item. And when I'm ready to hire somebody, I don't have to go back and train it. Because here's the biggest frustration that most small business owners have is they paint themselves into a corner where they have all the knowledge in their head, and the thought of training somebody on top of the work that they're already doing, they're like, there's no way. I'm already working 60, 70 hours a week. How am I going to carve out an extra 10 to 15 hours a week to train this person to do that? Well, I got news for you. If you don't do it, you're probably going to go out of business or die of a heart attack. It's the short and simple of it. If you don't take time to do it, it ultimately has to get done, or you're always going to stay small. You're always going to stay you. You're never going to grow or have any freedom or duplication. You're never going to have a vacation or any of that stuff. And so, sounds like I'm being harsh, but the only reason I'm being harsh is because I've been there. I've painted myself in the corner so many freaking times it's stupid. And so whenever I do it now, I literally would be stupid to do it. Okay, so I want you to not be able to have to make those same mistakes. And so do this list. If you want that list, send me a text, 916-741-0596. 916-741-0596, your name and your email address. I'll email you the resource. And if you want any consulting or help on that, just go to johnpyron.com, click on book appointment, schedule a time, and we'll chat. But that's what I have for today. So I want to go around the room because all of us are business owners here. Any feedback or anything you'd like to add to what I just said, or what is a good business tip? We're going to title this called Great Business Tips. Okay? Any business tip that you have learned as an entrepreneur yourself that has made a huge impact in your business. So first, do you have any feedback or any additions you want to add to what I just shared? Second, what's a good business tip or strategy that you can share with everybody? So let's start with you, Dan Knapp. You were here first.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just want to follow up with the processes, because I did that for a business back in the 90s when they were just all over the map. There's no project management. It was they had a great product, but they just didn't have things nailed down. And so the benefit I had was it wasn't just me. So I had people, and I would be able to pick like my best instructional designer and say, you make this process for this. Pick my best programmer, you make the process for this. So that when we started bringing people in, training was a snap. And that was a growth curve for us, because when you start bringing people in, you need that documentation. You need that consistency. Our product really depended on consistency.
Yep. Any business strategy or tip that you learned this week or in business that you think would add value to somebody else's business to help them or prevent them from making making mistakes that you've learned from experience.
I don't have anything off the top of my head. Let me think about that.
Okay. Allison.
With your list, that's the one thing that I find, with having the virtual assistant business, it's creating the time with a business owner that they want to let go of, even though it's a task that they don't want to do. They have a hard time letting go of even something they just don't want to do. So I think to be able to start out with the easy stuff, it could be even as simple as going over email. I have a client that will drive from site to site, and in that process, we will go through his email with him. Say what it says to him. We'll read it off to him, and then he'll tell us how to respond. So it could be we're going to archive that, or we're going to respond this way. We're going to snooze it, whatever it may be. So I think it's finding whatever task that you are first able to kind of let go of control of, which will then help give you that time back.
Okay. I just emailed you the 4-list business systems exercise. So one of the best strategies I would give you for your business, because you are a virtual assistant business and you have the ability to take a lot of this stuff off a business owner's plates, I would take the documents I just send you, rebrand them to your business. And when people say, well, Allison, what can you and Kim, what can Operation Delegate do for us? You can honestly say, I have no idea. But here's what I can do. I'm going to send you our 4-list business systems exercise. And if you spend a half hour going through it and send me your list, then you and I can hop on a 10 to 15 minute phone call. I can go through your list. And I can tell you exactly what it is that we can do. And then we're off to the races. That would be a great one call, 2-call close. That would increase your close ratio dramatically, because instead of just telling them about the services, you're going to make them go through their own audit. They're going to give you their master list, and you say, well, we want to do that. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that. Sign here.
So how often do you recommend a business owner actually do this?
When they're first starting out, it's a list that's always going to be ongoing.
Well, that's what I mean.
They can create a spreadsheet, and if they can create a spreadsheet where they can keep an ongoing list going, so when things get added, they're adding it to the list. It's a constant document. But I would evaluate it once per quarter. So, like in my clients, most of my clients there's some of my clients have been with me forever, right? And they just do this on their own. But there are other clients that are newer with me, and every quarter we sit down and we do their quarterly planning. It just depends on where the business is at. But I would look at it once per quarter and evaluate what else do you not want to do. Making sure that you're efficient and if you have a mentor holding you accountable, it's a lot easier. But what I would do in your case, where you have the type of business that you have, is I would be visiting this with your client on a monthly basis. I would just make this a mandatory process. This is how you work with us. This is one of those requirements to work with us. We need to visit. Your whole job is to make that business owner more efficient, more productive, more profitable. And this list will help you create that. And if you're an employer out there and you have employees, then I would give this same exercise to every single one of your employees to make sure that they're only doing the stuff that they're great at, that they love to do, that they want to do. And tell them, hey, if there's stuff that they don't want to do, it would be better to put it on somebody else's plate that loves to do it versus making that employee do it just because you hired them and I'm your boss and I told you to do that. Okay. So just kind of a productivity tip there. Any other questions or feedback about that? Nope. Alan Reeves. Muted.
Again, I could go on forever and ever about this, but I'm the guy that learned it the hard way. The first 5.5 years of my business, it was just me. And I I was the prototypical engineer that was stepping into the business world and did not have business education or skills and did not see the value in processing things in the early days because I had nobody to delegate to, and I couldn't really see that far ahead. But I had a meeting with the staff recently and brought up McDonald's. Ray Kroc was an absolute genius in the placement of where the food prep is down to the processes. They created a methodology where they could stick anybody in there, and as long as they follow a process, they can churn out the product. And it wasn't 2 hours later that an article from the Harvard Business Review crosses my screen, and there's an article about 5 quick tips for scaling your business, and one of them was be McDonald's. And that just the idea of process translates very, very well. And it's a whole lot easier to do it in the beginning than it is to try to play catch up. I was at an IT industry event in Raleigh, North Carolina, a couple of months ago. And there was a gentleman up there that was talking about the second IT company that he started after he sold his first one. And he said, I didn't want to repeat the mistakes that I had made the first time around. So in the beginning, I created every process that every engineer would use that I could think of. And I said, well, how long did that take you? And he said, a year. He spent a year developing the processes for every facet of his company before he even decided to really turn on the company, to start hiring people or start gathering people. And I'll tell you, man, it's the value of having those systems is incalculable. The ROI on having them is just something that almost cannot be measured, because if it becomes part of the culture, if everybody's in our case, in IT glue for documentation, if people are doing things off of the same playbook, you've got McDonald's, you've got the New England Patriots in their heyday, you just run the plays. You run the plays as they've been called, and you make adjustments here and there based on who you're serving or who you're playing. But man alive, I know that I could have done better, and I sometimes wonder, how much time it costs me not understanding or doing that in the early days of the business.
Yeah, I mean, it affects. Once you get your business to where you're making 100, 250, 300, $1 million, $2 million a year, when you start calculating what is an hour of your time worth, it's amazing at how much money you lose by inefficiency. And so, if you just want to do take the number that you want to make, whether it be $250,000 a year, whether it be $100,000 a year, right? Take that, just say it's $250,000 a year, divide that by 2,080 hours, that is 40 hours a week. Your hour is worth $120 an hour. So are you spending time doing $120 an hour work when you can delegate it to somebody for $15 an hour? So what this has allowed my client Jackson Sands to do is, this is how we've hired every single one of their employees from the day they started. And they're getting ready to hire their 8th employee using this document. And we're able to literally look at the document and go, okay, we got 25 hours of work right here that we know that person's going to be able to do, and they're going to be billed. Okay, well, how much are we going to hire the person for? Well, this particular position, let's hire them for $65,000. Okay, so let's do the math here. $65,000 times a burden rate. If you don't know what a burden rate is, then private message me or send me an email, and I'll send you a whole burden rate calculator for your business. So there, let's just say the burden rate is 40%. So times 65,000 times 1.4. So it actually is going to cost the company $91,000 to bring on this employee. Divide that by 2,080, That is $43.75 an hour, which is what this employee is going to cost. So question for you, Sean and Frank, how much do you bill per hour? Well, let's just say for conversation's sake, they bill it at $125 an hour. $125 minus $43.75 an hour equals $81.25 in profit per hour. Okay. Now we already agreed we're gonna bill right away 25 hours of this person's time. So times 25 hours, that's $2,031 per week in just straight profit after the employee's been paid. Times 4.3, that's $8,734 a month in profit. And now we're only talking 25 hours of billable time here. Times 12 months. So you're sitting on, so by outsourcing these tasks to another employee, we're going to make an extra $104,812 a year in profit. How many of those could you hire? I don't know, however many you want, if you want to make money, right? And so truth be told, by the time the employee is super productive, they're going to be billing at about $35 hours a week. So we got 35 times $81 an hour in profit equals $2,835 times 4.3 weeks in a year, $12,190 a month in profit times 12 months. It's $146,286 just because we brought on an employee, because we've identified how much work this employee can actually do that we no longer want to do. Okay? So the reason I went through all that analytical exercise, there's a lot of you out there that are going to be watching this recording, listening to the recording, and you're the guy or you're the gal, right? And everything depends on you. And you're the go-to person, and you like having control, and nobody does it better than you. Think about the amount of money you're not making by doing that. That's how much money you're leaving on the table. There is a max to you as a person. And I can't tell you how many small business owners, single, solo entrepreneurs, no, I don't want any employees, man. They're a headache. You know, they're a pain in the ass, blah, 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 blah. You know, and really what it comes down to is what they're not telling me, which is actually the truth. I don't know how to hire an employee, and I don't know how to manage them. And the last time I tried, it sucked. And so employees suck, and I don't want to hire them. And there's all this regulation and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you know what? Meanwhile, while you're not doing that, your competitor's doing it and kicking your ass. And so what I would recommend you do is, if you don't know how to figure that out, you get a hold of somebody like me. You get a hold of a coach, a consultant, a business owner, somebody who actually has employees, and get that thought process fixed. Hiring employees is not a pain in the butt thing. It's not something to be feared. It's something that if you want to scale and grow and you want to have duplication and you want to have your time back, it's something that should not be feared, something that should be leveraged. Because the only way to grow is to leverage yourself through other people. And I can tell you, you can call, Jackson Sands Engineering, you can call InfoCompass, you can call Stephanie Scheller, you can call Alan Reeves, you can call, a lot of the clients that I have that have employees, and they're going to all tell you that when they hire the right way, those employees become productive, profitable, and enjoyable. And these people get their time back. So if that's you, and you have been sitting on the fence all this time, if that's you, it's like Jim Floyd told me a long time ago. It used to be a badge of honor to work 60, 70 hours a week. Man, I'm busy. I'm just busy, man. I'm working 60, 70 hours a week, man. I'm crushing it, dude. No, you're not. You're inefficient. Okay? So if that's you, and you're working more than 40 hours a week in your business, you either are in startup mode and you don't have the capital to hire somebody, or you're just an egotistical person and you don't think anybody can do it better for you. And if that offended you, I hope it did, because somebody's got to knock you off the fence. Because after sitting with these two people yesterday, who's now going to be my client, and understanding the devastation and the impact it's having on their family and their health, somebody's got to say something. It's not worth it. It's not worth your health. It's not worth the relationships that are the closest to you. It's not worth your life when you can have somebody else helping you. And I want to help you do that. There's a team of people here. I trust Dan. I trust Alan. I trust Allison. I don't know you, Isabel, but I will tell you this: all these people right here can help you. Okay, none of them work for me. They just happen to be on this call, but they know what it means. They know what I'm talking about. And so reach out to people here. Isabel, you have anything that you want to add to this conversation? You are muted.
Hey there, can you hear me okay?
You can.
Awesome. I
Tell us about your
apologize.
business.
Yeah, so my name's not Isabel. That's my daughter's name. I think she was using my Zoom account. And I was like, I don't want to log back out and have to log in and all that. So I'm Christine. My daughter's Isabel. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this. This is fantastic information.
There you go, Christine. I renamed you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. So I was actually on one of these like several months ago, and I got a tip that was so helpful that I thought to myself, I got to get on another one of those calls, because gosh, if I can just take away one thing that would make that much of a difference, then that's really awesome. I remember who shared it. It was about SaneBox. Oh my goodness, that's helped so much. Anyway, yeah.
Alan Reeves.
I still get too much email, but it's manageable now. And I'm not distracted by the non-important ones. Anyway, so I'm an insurance broker specializing in major medical, employee benefits, and Medicare, people turning 65. And I've been doing this for 14 years, actually. And I did this when my kids were really small, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just started very, very part-time, and it just grew organically over the years. And it's still mainly just me. My husband is also licensed, and he does step in a lot of times to help me during fourth quarter when it gets really busy. I have tried hiring someone in the past. I did hire a college student a number of years ago, but I didn't have enough work for her. The way my business goes, it can be very cyclical. So it can get really busy from like right about now, usually October through, I'd say, first week of December. It can get like really intense. And that's when I need outside help. But most of the time it goes dead in January, like January through March. And then it'll start to kind of pick up again in April. And then it'll start to, and it's been kind of steady over the summer too, but they're slow periods. So that's been a bit of a challenge with thinking about hiring people. But what else did you want to know?
So in your type of business, you're doing property and casualty insurance, or what type of insurance are you doing?
Although my husband actually he just finished a training program for that. So we are going to be adding that to our wheelhouse. But I myself, I'm not licensed for that yet. I've just specialized in employee benefits for small businesses, and then helping people turning 65, senior Medicare market.
Okay, so employee benefits and management, things like that for small businesses. Okay.
Yes.
And so, yeah, during this time of the season, you get slammed, and then there's this dip after open enrollment's over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would connect with Allison on here. They're a virtual assistant company, and it's her and a business partner, and then they've got other resources. But they're I would take that 4-list exercise I was talking about. She can send it to you and fill that out, and then you can look at. Since you showed up a little bit late, you'll grab the recording. It's up on YouTube. Okay, this is being streamed live on YouTube. But you can send you that list and just fill out that list of all the things that you do. And then you can look at, okay, during the busy season, if I can free up this 5 hours, this 10 hours, I can go out and get even more business, right? And then you can outsource that to a virtual assistant, which is really cool because you don't have to hire them. And when you're done, when the season's over, you can cut those hours. Okay, that would be kind of one strategy. The other strategy is look at, okay, it's employee benefits and going in and evaluating. I would imagine the entry level is going to be 5 employees, I would imagine. What is your
No,
target?
actually, we can go down all the way to 2, but really the sweet spot is between 5 and 50. Yeah.
And you're licensed just in the state of California, or are you licensed in
Yes.
multiple states?
No, just California.
California. Okay.
Mhm.
There are some organizations out there that you can join, networking groups that you can join, things like that. But what I would do is I would focus on, let me put this number in the chat window. This is anybody listening to this. There is a 5-part video series I did because I've taught this to thousands of business owners. Truth be told, to build a big business, you'd really need 4. Actually, that's my cell number. 916-105-9. There we go. Okay. So text me your email to that, and I'll put you in the Dropbox folder. Then you can download these 5 videos. But I would focus on building 4 what I would call POI relationships, person of influence relationships, where you got 4 people that are going after the identical client that you're going after. They already have your client, and I lay that out step by step there. But what happens is those relationships take a little bit of time, but once you have them set up, it could be huge. Like, I'll give you an example. Allison on this call, Operation Delegate, is a huge POI for you. She's going after business owners in the state of California. Whether you two talk about it or not, you guys are going after the same client. Dan Knapp is in California. He's going after the exact same client. Alan Reeves has a bunch of clients on the West Coast, but he's based in Nashville, so could potentially be a power partner for you. But having a relationship in that case where you already have the relationship with the client, and you can ask things like, how's business? The person's going to say it's going great, or I've got this problem or that problem or this problem. If I help you solve that problem, would you want me to refer somebody to you? They're going to say yes. And now you help them solve that problem. Well, whatever that problem is, you go and find somebody to fix that problem. And now that person you referred that business to now owes you in return. You have some social currency out there. Because the thing about benefits, if I'm an employer, I already have benefits. Okay, I already know that I'm in open enrollment season. I got like 4 calls today on my cell phone from Dignity Health, from all these other people going, and I know why they're calling. Yeah. But if I have somebody like you that's not just my employee benefits person, but somebody that can help me actually solve other business problems or has a network of people that can help me solve my other business problems, probably going to go with you just because you're a lot more valuable than just my employee benefits. Right? You're actually helping me in my business. And so POI and the strategy there will help set you apart from all the other benefits brokers out there. And I've trained now, 4 of them with this strategy, and they have businesses that run really well in your space. So definitely I'll send you those resources, but I would connect with Allison because both of you, not only could she help you out with your task that you don't want to do, but there's also a potential reciprocal referral relationship there. Same thing with Dan and the same thing with Alan.
John, I have a question. Are POI relationships, are they always supposed to be reciprocal? Is that kind of the general thing, or are they ever one-sided?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'll give you an example. I have a POI relationship with a guy named Jim Canaris. He's with Northwestern Mutual Life. It is illegal for him to compensate me on any referral. Okay. It's just not, he can't do it. There's certain regulations in place that he cannot do that. Okay?
It's the same way for me.
But
with
he can
Medicare.
refer me. Yeah, he can refer me a client. He can refer me a business. And so the type of POI relationship I'm talking about, first you find the PO, and then lay it out in those videos. First you find the POI, and then you decide, okay, what is the strategy I'm going to use here? Okay. So the strategy could be reciprocal referral relationship, where I agree, I'm going to refer you business and you're going to refer me business. That's one strategy. The other strategy would be a joint venture relationship, meaning you're a POI of my, you have a massive audience that maybe you run a podcast, maybe you speaking on stage, and I want to be a speaker at your event, or I want you to promote me to your audience. And then when a transaction happens, I compensate you, or because you did that for me, I'm going to promote you to my audience, right? So I'm working a relationship with a guy named Pat, and that's all I want to say is the first name. He has a massive audience, hundreds of thousands of followers. And so, but what I'm doing for him, because he is a POI, what I'm doing for him is I have something of value I can offer him. And in exchange, he's going to expose me to his audience. There's no money that's going to transact. I just want access to his network.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just depends on the person and how you want to work out the relationship. I go through, I think on that video series, I give out 4 or 5 strategies on how to do, on different ways of doing that. Alan Reeves and Alan's a client of mine. He's in Nashville, but I actually have a written agreement with him where if I refer him a client and that client transacts business with him and they become a monthly reoccurring client, I get a check every month. Actually, I get a Venmo every month, with money, right? And I like that. I like harassing him about it too. So, anyway, but it depends on the strategy you want to do within your type of organization, your type of business. 4 to 5 different POIs that I know of will work very well. That's totally on and above board. That will work really well. I'd be more than happy to spend 10-15 minutes on the phone with you and do that for free. Not a problem. Just go to johnpyron.com and click on book appointment.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to access my calendar, and then we'll see how we can help you out from there. But I would connect with Allison and I would connect with Dan Knapp. They both have clients that have employees. I have about, I want to say 4 of my clients right now that are in California. They have well over 10 employees. So definitely would like to actually talk to you about a POI relationship too, because I go after your type of client. So that would be a very good conversation to have. So for the sake of the whole audience and the people that are on the live call, listening, and recording, what I just did with Christine here is what I would do in any POI relationship. I want to look at, okay, how can I help Christine here? And how can Christine help me, and see if we connect and if we resonate. And then if we do resonate, I want to set up a 10 to 15 minute phone call. Still don't know if we're going to work together. We don't even know each other, right? But in a 10 to 15, we now have a reason to have a 10 to 15 minute phone call. And if it makes sense beyond that, we can create whatever type of relationship we want where we help each other grow businesses. So Jeff Stewart was sitting in my garage, Allison, 2 days ago. Jeff Stewart, Jim Kinnear, Sheldon Sanford, and what the hell was the other guy's name? David Krimmel. Those 4 people were POIs for me when I was building my IT company. I built 3 separate multi-million-dollar companies with just those 4 POIs. That's all we did. We were all going after the same client and hired lots of employees. But those relationships take time, and I explained how to do it on that video series. You could do the same because you have a valuable service that employers in this state absolutely have to legally provide. Any questions? Any clarification?
I don't
Anybody
think
else
so.
got feedback?
I know
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to open it up. Anybody else have anything else? Any other business challenges, opportunities that they would like to mastermind with this group on today?
I wanted to add on to the finding somebody to take your task off your plate. because it doesn't always have to be an employee. And one of the things that I have done over the years is, I have certain tasks that come up that aren't repetitive. For example, I might have a client that I'm going to do a website for, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, do you do logos?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've done logos before, but sometimes I don't want to do it." So I have a graphic artist that I have had on Upwork for 6 years. I go to her every time I have a graphic artist job. I send it to her. She's been, it's finding those people. Same thing with programming. Sometimes I don't want to do PHP programming, really don't, but it comes up. And if I do, I have a guy I've been using, over and over. Find that person. You don't need to hire them because you don't have that much work for them, but you have to fill that hole once in a while. And if you can find those people online or find, Fiverr, or I like Upwork personally. Fiverr is kind of weird. If you can find those people that you can go to on a long-term basis, it's very helpful.
Yeah. Any other feedback, any other business problems or challenges or opportunities that we'd like to go over today?
Well, I might want to borrow 15 minutes of Christine's time as well. Just kind of understand what she's offering, because I have, and John, you and I were talking about this a little bit ago, I have a new product that I'm getting ready to launch. And one of the pitches, or one of the verticals that we're going for, is this is a service that can be offered as an employee benefit. And, we have it, we can structure it in such a way that the entity, if they want to offer this as an employee benefit, it can be white labeled or it can be co-branded, and we always carve out a piece of that monthly recurring margin for the partner that got us in the door. So there may be opportunity there. And I'll connect with you on LinkedIn, Christine, and explore that with you.
Sounds good.
Plan. Cool deal. Anything else anybody else has that they would like to go over today?
I'm good.
Nope. Okay. All right. So for those of you that haven't, we kind of did some experimentation. We're going to stick with 4 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. That seems to be a good time that a lot of people have requested and said. So share this call out with your family, with your friends, with people that you care about. Tell other people about the services of other people on this call. Come back every week, bring your biggest business problem, challenge, opportunity, and we're going to mastermind on it together. So I hope this has been valuable. Have a wonderful